to show their solidarity with the Palestinian people. Now, there's one important announcement before we have our next speaker. I'm sure many of you are taking photographs of this event, and we want those photographs to get around the world as fast as possible, so that our brothers and sisters in Gaza can see that London is rising in support of them. So, if you take your pictures, you can email them to photos@gazaprotest.org. I'll just say that again, that's photos@gazaprotest.org, and they will immediately go up on a website so that people across the world can see that there are tens of thousands of people in Britain saying stop the slaughter, Israel out of Gaza. Now, brothers and sisters, our next speaker is representing another trade union that has been at the forefront of the movement for solidarity with the Palestinian people for many years now. Will you please welcome the chair of the International Committee of Unison and the past president of Unison, Alison Sheperd.
Thank you very much. I'm very pleased to be here today to represent my union, Unison. 1.3 million members with decades of campaigning on the rights of the Palestinian people, decades of friendship with Palestinian trade unions, decades of visits, decades of friendship. And it's very sad that we are here today with such an awful situation. Unison is appalled by the situation in Gaza. We've consistently opposed terrorist attacks on Israel and condemned rocket attacks by Hamas on Israel's civilian targets. However, we believe that both the bombing and actions like ground forces in Gaza are completely disproportionate to the threat faced by Israel. And so we call for the ceasefire to come into effect. As a health union, and we have over 400,000 members in health, we're so distressed by the medical situation, by the awful pictures which come across the healthcare that is happening. All the hospitals there are so short of medical supplies and medical equipment and vital medicines, and so those are so maimed and terribly injured are not able to get the help that they want. The hospitals and the ambulances, the health workers and those bringing aid are coming under the most appalling attack, which makes the difficulties of caring for the people injured in this conflict so very, very difficult. And so I do urge everybody that can to help and financially to help do that sort of work. However, I think the prime purpose of why we're here today is to know that the military solution is not the answer and will never bring lasting peace in Palestine and the Middle East. So we call for the ceasefire with respect for the UN decisions, which have been very sadly lacking over many years. It seems to me that in some areas the UN resolutions are very vigorously supported, but certainly when you come to Palestine and the Middle East, I think we have an awful lot of responsibilities still to carry out. So we call to end to the occupation, because that is the source and that is the difficulty. Once you start to end the occupation, then we can get Palestinian and Israeli people talking together, doing a lasting peace in Palestine and the right of the Palestinian people for a state free and live free and peacefully.
Just make
Thank
your
you very much.
We're also here today to call on the European Parliament to take action. We're calling for the EU-Israel trade agreement to be suspended. It is outrageous that we're giving Israel preferential trade agreements while they're slaughtering Palestinians. And I'm really pleased today to be able to introduce Richard Howett MEP, who's chair of the European Union's Human Rights Committee. Richard.
Last year I went to Gaza I went through the border that's hermetically sealed, and I left the 21st century and went back to medieval times. I saw there that people had no money, they were bartering. I saw the raw sewage sitting in the rivers and making the sea filthy. I saw that people went around by donkey and cart, and I went to Shifa Hospital where the victims of this war are piling up, and I saw that they had 100 medicines that are essential not there, and people dying unavoidable deaths. I saw a boy, Abdullah, who needed simple dialysis treatment. He could have got it by going over the border to Israel, but they wouldn't let him go because they said he was a security risk. Abdullah was 7 years old. I tell you, we come here today in solidarity with the victims of this war since the 27th of December. 700 deaths. We condemn, of course, the rocket attacks by Hamas. Innocent civilians killed too. But military action in international law has to be proportionate, and this is not. Humanitarian aid has to be let through, and it is not. And today we are saying that relations between Britain, Europe and Israel cannot remain the same. Many of you have written an email to me and my member of the European Parliament colleagues, and you say to us you do not want the planned proposed upgrading of relations between the European Union and Israel. And today I can tell you, on Thursday of this week, the Socialist Group publicly announced we will vote no to that upgrading of relations between the European Union and Israel. End the ceasefire, withdraw the troops, withdraw the checkpoints, withdraw the security wall on Palestinian lands, stop killing people with bombs and bullets, stop killing people by starving them to death, and let people live their lives in peace.
Brothers and sisters, we're glad to welcome today to this wonderful, wonderful demonstration. And by the way, I can't even see the end of the crowd today. We have tens of thousands out today. Now listen, we're extremely pleased to have with us our media, which hasn't been fair in covering the story in Gaza. However, they can still redeem themselves. So for their sake, show them some noise. Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Thank you very much. Our next speaker is someone who needs no introduction. She's a human rights advocate, and she's the Council of Europe Goodwill Ambassador. Please welcome Bianca Jagger.
In the name of justice, stop the killing of innocent civilians in Gaza. In the name of what is good about us, stop the killing of innocent children. In the name of international law, stop the killing of women. In the name of human rights, stop the killing of civilians in Gaza. We can no longer accept that Israel violates international law and commit crimes against humanity and war crimes with total impunity. We cannot accept that anymore. We have seen throughout history when Israel has violated international law, has committed war crimes, and have violated humanitarian law. We see now that even the Red Cross, the United Nations, are speaking out and demanding for an investigation to establish that Israel has committed war crimes. We cannot say that we are a society that respects human rights and international law and allow Israel to continue to kill innocent children. I watched 200 the images of children being brought up, dismembered. I listened this morning to a little girl who told the story on how her mother and her brothers were killed. Why are we allowing that to happen? Why are Palestinians not human? Why is it that the US Congress can give the green light to Israel to continue the onslaught of innocent civilians? I again, in the name of justice, I call upon the international community to stop the massacre of Palestinians, to stop the siege, to come to their defense. We need to come to their defense. Stop the killing of innocent civilians. For God's sake, I beg you, the people in Israel